Hey everybody, welcome back to Cinema Trip Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about Jordan Peele's new movie, Nope. Hey everybody, welcome to Cinema Trip Reviews. I am Wyatt, and today we're going to be talking about Jordan Peele's new movie, Nope. It just came out this weekend. This is going to be a spoiler-free review. I may release a spoiler one at some point here in the future, but as of right now, we're going to keep it spoiler-free, kind of keep it concise a little bit. This is Jordan Peele's third movie following up Get Out and Us, which were critically acclaimed. I really didn't know what to think of this movie going into it, just because I only saw that initial first trailer, and then I kind of stayed away from everything else as it was coming out. I wanted to be surprised going into it, and I'm really glad I did, because this movie, even with the trailers coming out, I feel like it would be hard to tell what this movie is other than just like a regular alien extraterrestrial type movie, and I was pleasantly surprised going into it. Now, this movie does star Keke Palmer, Daniel Kaluuya, Steven Yeun, Brandon Perea, and Michael Wincott, which was really cool to see Michael Wincott coming back, with his throat just full of gravel. He has that very distinct voice. I grew up watching him in older movies. I believe he's in like Alien Resurrection and The Crow, one of my favorite movies of all time. But it was really cool seeing him back, and not just a movie, but like a pretty big blockbuster movie of the year in the summer here. So it's great to see him back here in kind of a smaller role. We also had Keith David, which I was actually surprised to see in this movie. We didn't see enough of Keith David in this movie. Would have liked to see more of him, but hey, any Keith David's fine with me. Now, before I get into the actual movie, I am a Jordan Peele fan. Believe it or not, I actually really liked, I believe he was on like Mad TV back in the day. I liked his sketch show, Key and Peele. Of course, that was on Comedy Central. Big fan of Get Out when it came out. I did really like probably the first 3/4 of Us. I wasn't really big on the third act of Us. It kind of lost me, kind of got a little away from me there towards the end, but for the most part, I really did enjoy Us when it came out. Kind of say the same thing about this movie. I enjoyed, for the most part, a majority of this movie, but yeah, once it got to that third act, around like kind of when it's wrapping up the movie, it just kind of, I wouldn't say falls apart for me, but I don't know, it just kind of falls very flat. I really liked some of the ideas they did with the alien and the extraterrestrial type stuff. It was something that definitely at least I haven't seen before. It's definitely something pretty original and new to the concept of aliens coming down and invading Earth. But it's definitely something new to the concept of, just extraterrestrial and like an alien invasion kind of. Now, this movie, a lot of people are kind of comparing it to like M. Night Shyamalan, and a lot of people are saying it's like Jaws for some reason. The only comparison I see to Jaws is that it kind of uses the antagonist, the monster, or in this case, like the alien life form. It kind of goes the way of how they use the shark in Jaws, where they use it very sparingly, and they use it to increase the suspense of the movie. They don't just go out and just show it to you right away, and every time you see it, it's just these huge like action sequences. It's very subdued and it's very hidden for the most part for a majority of the movie, up until probably like the last third of the movie. You see it a lot more. But every time that you see this alien, or every time there's an interaction with them and the aliens, you can feel the tension in it. He does a very good job of creating that anxiety and creating the kind of dread. I don't want to say terror, because it's not scary by any means. But he does a very good job with like the music and the tension, and just the cinematography in this movie is great, and it looks beautiful. But with the cinematography, I really love those night shots, because those are some of the most tense parts of the movie, because you kind of just see it kind of moving in and out of these clouds and stuff. You don't know where it's at any given time. You're always kind of looking around the screen, looking for something. And it kind of really puts you in the place of the characters in the movie, because you really, like the characters in the movie, you don't know what's going on, and you're also kind of trying to figure everything out and look for what's happening and where these aliens are at any given moment as well. So it does a very good job of putting you in the character's spot in this throughout the course of the film here. Now, as far as like the actors, Daniel Kaluuya, he does a fantastic job in this. I'll watch pretty much anything with him in it. He just has some kind of like I don't know, he just has like a cool demeanor to him and everything he's in. Like he just doesn't care, and he just has a very a genuine way of playing and portraying these characters. But I'll pretty much watch anything with him in it. He's been great. Keke Palmer really grew on me the course of this movie. I would say like the first quarter, I wouldn't say the first half, but like the first quarter of this movie, she was kind of annoying. But I think that's kind of the point of her character and what she and how she was trying to play it. But I really think that's what they were trying to go for. But she really grew on me through the course of the movie. She did a really great job as well, especially like kind of towards the end. You can really see like the emotion in her and how she brought that out. But she did a fantastic job as well. Steven Yen, he does a great job in this. He plays like this owner of this tourist attraction, dressed like a cowboy every time you see him with his big, huge hat. But he has kind of a backstory that's kind of shown throughout the course of this movie, and it's very dark. And some of those scenes that it shows in his backstory are some of the most tense of the movie, I would say. And I mean, we'd have to get more into that during the spoiler discussion eventually. But those scenes kind of caught me off guard. It kind of came out of left field, but I was pleasantly surprised, and I actually really liked those scenes. But he has a small role in the movie. But he hams it up a little bit. He has one scene where he's kind of just describing what happened in the backstory a little bit, and as he's describing it, it doesn't show it to you as he's describing it. It just kind of slowly pans in as he's talking, and even just talking and how the music is going, it just builds up, and you just kind of get a sense of just dread as he's talking, and it works very well. He did a great job with that monologue. And the other guy I want to talk about is Brandon Perea. He plays Angel, and he's like I would let's say like a Geek Squad or like a Best Buy employee that but he helps like the main characters like Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya's characters help set up their surveillance around their ranch there, try to find and capture these aliens on film and everything. But he's actually kind of the comic relief somewhat of the movie, but he does a great job in it as well. I haven't really seen him in anything else, but I'm definitely going to look forward to seeing him in the future because he's actually a pretty good actor. He's pretty funny. Now, to the movie itself and the story, I don't want to get too far into it because it's going to be hard to talk about this movie without going into spoilers. Now, like I mentioned before, a lot of people are saying this is kind of an M. Night Shyamalan type movie, which I guess you can say that in some ways. There is kind of, if you want to say, a twist in this movie, but it's nowhere near like the level of like an M. Night Shyamalan twist or anything like that. It's just kind of an interesting original take on this kind of like UFO alien movie. But I think it worked in my opinion. But I can definitely see this kind of not sitting well with some other folks. I like the less is more approach, kind of how people are comparing it to Jaws, where you don't really see much of the alien and kind of till the final third act of the movie. That's kind of where my issues with the movie lies, is that third act of the movie here. Without going in the spoiler territory, I just don't like some of the visuals in the last third of the movie. Without going into spoilers, like it kind of goes into just like a weird metamorphosis, and it changes a little bit, and it looks weird compared to the rest of the movie. Like it looks like it doesn't fit the rest of the movie. It looks very cheap, and the CGI looks very weird compared to what it looked like the rest of the movie, and it kind of looks like the best way to say is like a kaleidoscope, and a lot of people that saw the movie know exactly what I'm talking about. But it was a very weird choice to go at the end of this movie to kind of just drastically change the look up and make it look way more kind of fantasy-ish in a way. It reminded me of like a fantasy movie. But I definitely wasn't down with the transformation there at the end. But I liked the idea. I think the movie was paced pretty well. It comes in at just over 2 hours long. I saw that somewhere. I think Jordan Peele said that he has like a 3.5 hour, 3 hour, 45-minute cut of the movie. I feel like that would be way too long. I feel like that would be so drawn out unless there's way more action sequences and other creepy stuff with the aliens involved. I think 2 hours fits this movie perfectly. You might have been able to cut it down a little bit more without sacrificing too much, but I think it was paced very well. You actually, as you're going out, I like how they introduce these new characters into the fold. That helps Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya's characters out throughout the film here. How they introduce like Brandon Pereira's character and Michael Wincott here there towards the end. It was really cool seeing how they introduced those guys into the mix. There are a couple really tense parts in this movie that really worked out well. They're very tension filled. The atmosphere is great. You really feel like you're in the character's shoes. There was one moment in the movie that I don't want to really give away, where it actually shows a lot of people being involved and interacting with this alien, and it really kind of shows what happens to some of the people, and it just takes you into like this weird, dark, very claustrophobic, scary scene, where you see what happens with some of the people that interact with this alien. And I thought that was very like claustrophobic and such kind of a scary scene, because I can only imagine what that would be like if you were in that situation. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Like I was saying before, it's very hard to talk about without giving away spoilers too much. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, Jordan Peele, once again, it seems like he consistently putting out these bangers, this hit after hit after hit. And he just proved himself once again as a very strong director and writer when it comes to these thriller/horror movies. And I'm very interested to see where he goes with the next one, because it seems like he's kind of taking on these little subgenres within the horror and thriller genres themselves. So I'm interested to see where he goes with the next movie that he makes. Because I mean, Jordan Peele, he comes from a comedy background. He does have some comedy in these movies, and it works. It does play very well. I like the tension and some of the artistic direction that he goes with these movies, especially in this one where it kind of cuts with these little cue cards, these little cards throughout, kind of just showing you like, okay, this is kind of its own little section of the movie. This is telling you exactly where we're at or who this next scene is going to be involved with. I really like that. It's kind of really cool. It reminds me like a Tarantino type thing, or just kind of an old school artistic direction there. But it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I do see some people hating on it. I understand some of the complaints about the third act. I have my own reservations about it, but I don't think it overall ruined the experience at all for me. I thought it was overall pretty entertaining movie. I'm looking forward to watching it again, in fact, seeing if he does release like a director's cut with some other stuff added in there. I don't want to see a 3.5 hour, almost 4 hour movie of it. But I'm interested to see if he adds anything when it comes to like Blu-ray or anything like that. But yeah, it was an enjoyable movie. I actually really liked the design of the alien and the way they went with the alien aspect of the movie and the UFO aspect of the movie. It's definitely a different take than you have seen before. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where he goes next with his next movie. I'm sure that it'll be a little while, maybe like 3 or 4 years until we get that one. But I'm always looking forward to see what he comes up with next. But yeah, that's our spoiler-free review of Nope. And I'm saying I'm giving it a big yep. Go out and watch this movie. I would probably, out of 10, I would probably give it like a 7.5. It's definitely not bad. It's definitely not mediocre, but it's not a great or amazing movie. I wouldn't say it's as good as Get Out. But yeah, that's the review here. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to go check out all the content across the Waves 5 Media and Cinema Trip Reviews channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Waves 5 Media as well. And we'll see everybody next week for the next review.